Meow.
Pet Trustee sponsors Let's Talk About Animals, hosted by Jewel.
So today we have a very special guest, since we all love animals, and this person has done more, basically, for saving animal lives, cats and dogs and companion pets, than virtually anyone that I can think of. And we have with us Jane Hoffman, who is the chair and also the president of the Mayor's Alliance for New York City Animals. Thank you for being with us, Jane.
Thank you for having Lovey and I with you today.
Oh, Lovey. Lovey is, by the way, was born blind, I believe.
Yes, she was born without her eyes, but she doesn't know it. She's the smartest, bravest cat I've ever met, and as you can see, she's beautiful. So, you know, she doesn't care and we don't care. So she's one of our 2 office cats. We also have her brother Sam Elliott with us, but he's off on desk duty at the moment, so Lovey's the only one joining us.
Well, I just want to ask one quick question because
Sure.
we've got so much to cover today.
Yeah.
But are there any special things about a blind cat in terms of taking care of them that's different from a cat that, say, could see? Especially on the 12th story with a balcony.
Yes, well, first of all, I would, if you're on the balcony, you obviously, but everyone needs screens for cats. So I think, you know, obviously, if you have an outside balcony or something like that, you have to be very careful about that with any kind of cat. Or before you open a window, you have screens. It's really more just don't change the geography. If you're going to move something, you kind of have to let her know where you're putting something. But they are uncanny in their ability to appear not to be blind. I mean, I don't know whether it's a combination of just smell, some kind of extrasensory perception they have, the whiskers. She really finds her way around just fine. She knows where her food is, she knows where her water is, and she knows where her litter box is. And I say, you know, she's more of a cat without her eyes than many other cats with eyes.
Oh, and she's beautiful too, really
Yes.
beautiful and lovely.
Yes, she's going to have a day of beauty very soon though. She's a long-haired cat, and that's something people should know about long-haired cats. They actually need to be groomed just like dogs do.
Interesting.
Every now and then, yeah. The short-haired, the domestic short-hairs, you know, they can usually keep themselves in good shape, but these gals with long hair sometimes need a little help, right?
And that you mean by shampooing, how do you, giving them baths?
Well, there's just basically brushing them out. There are groomers who do cats. So, you know, some people have done what they call lion cuts, but only by professional groomers, where some of these longer haired ones, they'll really leave their hair on their head and on their feet and like maybe their tail, but they shave them down the rest of the way for the summer to get ready for the beach, I guess. But really that should only be done by a professional groomer, but she's going to have her day of beauty in a little while, so she needs to a little be spiffed up a little.
Spotted. Well, she looks gorgeous to me.
Thank you.
Jane, tell us how you founded this organization, didn't you? Or you were one of the founders, for sure.
Yes. Actually, it was a bunch of lawyers. It was I'm going to let Lovey down now.
Okay.
It's okay. She's going to go off and do her thing.
That's okay, Lovey. Did you know where to go?
No, she'll just hang.
Okay.
We were all members of the New York City Bar Association Animal Law Committee. I was one of the founding members. And when Bloomberg's administration was coming into office, we wrote a memo to him, which basically said to his transition team that, you know, we think there's an opportunity here for us to actually get a very large grant from a fund called Maddie's Fund.
I was going to ask you, where did Maddie's Fund come from?
Well, Dave and Cheryl Duffield are the couple who set it up. Dave Duffield has created many fortunes for himself. He's very big in software, and he has a company now named Workday, but before that it was PeopleSoft. And he had a small dog, mini schnauzer named Maddie, and she took him and Cheryl through some very difficult times, and he told her that if he, was successful, he would, I think, basically immortalize her, and he created the Duffield Family Foundation, of which part of it is Maddie's fund. They're very philanthropic, they're very interested in, vulnerable parts of our population.
$23.5 million for 10 years? My goodness,
Yes.
wow.
Yes, it was the largest single animal welfare grant that had been given to date in the United States. I think it still is, from one entity to another. And basically to create, make New York City a no-kill community. Which means basically that we do not kill or euthanize cats or dogs simply because we don't have homes for them.
It's really wonderful what you're doing, and your track record is amazing. You've gone from like 74% down to 43%?
Actually, 33%.
33 now,
As
it's
of the
even
end
better
of-
than
Yep.
the literature.
Yep.
Wow.
Basically, unfortunately, animal care control is forced to euthanize or kill animals for space sometimes, or they were. We're improving that enormously, as you quoted. In 2002, which was the year before we started, 74 out of every 100 animals, cats and dogs that went into ACC were killed or euthanized. And at the end of last year, we had reduced that to 33. We're projecting we'll do that, drop it to 30 at the end of this year, and we just continue to, make progress. And that's done by ACC adopting out the animals, being better at returning them to their owners if they get lost and end up there, which is why we're very big on dog licensing and microchipping your pets, both
Amen.
cats and dogs.
Yes.
And also by transferring them to the partner rescue group, which makes up the alliance that then can help get them adopted. But, microchipping is so important for cats because, many localities, including New York City, don't have cat licensing.
And also they have the tearaway collars.
Exactly. And the microchip you can't remove. It's going to be there forever. And, a lot of people say to me, my dog is never going to run away. And I'm saying, yes, but suppose something happens to you. And you're on the sidewalk. Someone's going to come along and take your dog. And where are they going to end up? And collars come off.
Right.
A lot of people, unfortunately, even if they're in their homes, take off all of the identification, the tags, which I don't understand. I never take mine off my animals. But and with a cat, it's their only means of identification. So I'm a big proponent. One of our things we always do at events is microchipping.
It's so wonderful, and a lot of those are free,
Yes,
are they not?
Yes, basically free or incredibly low cost, and we also register them because I think a lot of people act like microchipping is LoJack or something and it's automatically going to track their animal. We're not quite there yet. So
It will be. It will be there, but
yes.
it's not yet.
Not
It's
yet.
still not
Yep, just
quite
a
there.
little chip, and it needs to be scanned, and you need to keep the registration up to date. A lot of people, that should be on. If you're going to move, you need to put that on your checklist of things to do. Call moving company, change registration of microchip.
Well, basically, that's one of the things that we're doing with, and I'm going to talk to you about that after the interview, of course, but it's like Pet Trustees that sponsors the program. We basically are trying to put together a complimentary national and someday international free registration for all pets.
That would be beautiful.
And we're doing this on a complimentary basis, and I want you to be on our board of directors. I know you do so many things, but you are perfect for us.
Oh, great.
Because it's really, we're kindred spirits. You do what I want to do. You're my role model. Actually, Jane, you are my role model. I would love to make the contribution to animal welfare that you have made in life.
Well,
really.
it's, there is the Alliance has a staff, there's a lot of volunteers, there's a lot of people really working hard. I think Lovey wants to exit the room.
Lovey, do you want out, hon? Here we go. Uh-oh, I think I have to open this one. There we go. There she goes. She knew the direction.
Yep, oh yeah.
Follow
she
the
knows.
wind.
Yep, absolutely.
There we go.
So, yeah, it's really, it's one of our big initiatives. When we got the grant from Maddie's fund, we had to come up with a 10-year strategic plan. So we have 4 core objectives, which is increase adoptions, decrease homelessness, which includes spay, neuter, microchipping, responsible pet ownership, dog licensing.
The Picasso veterinary.
Absolutely, that's one of the
program?
initiatives, that falls under both increasing adoptions and decreasing homelessness, because a lot of times it's really just, the animals need a little extra vet care, a little time to get better before they can be completely adoptable. And then, raise awareness of the groups and the animals, and then strengthen resources of the groups themselves so they can do what they're already doing even better. So we hold training sessions every month on a variety of subjects. Right now, we're on a really, I think one of my big pet peeves is we need to professionalize what we're doing. The animals deserve it, so we do a lot of training from basic animal handling and veterinary kind of issues to a business track kind of thing, like how to be a 501c3, how to do a strategic plan, how to do social media and marketing, how to fundraise kind of thing. So I think it's really important that, groups become almost like businesses.
It is important. It really, it is a business, basically.
Yeah, you're saving lives. It's a business, and it needs to be run, as I said, the animals deserve for us to be our best, and I think to do that, you need to get the tools you need to do what you need to do. For instance, we're having a grant writing seminar later this week, so people know how to fundraise on their own.
I'd like to come to that.
Okay.
I would love to do that.
I think it's Thursday.
Is it Thursday?
I'll have Diane contact you. She's teaching it. I mean, we're also fortunate enough, because of the nature of what we're doing and the collaborative and the coalition idea, a lot of professionals who aren't going to walk dogs or aren't going to go to shelters want to contribute somehow or other. So they come in, and a lot of them are very generous with their time in teaching some of these training sessions. Like we've had someone who's a former McKinsey consultant, one of the largest management consulting companies in the world and most successful, some people would say. She came and taught the strategic planning session for us. So we have veterinarians who, will come and do microchipping for us for free at our events, that kind of thing. So it's just something that I think people like to support, something that is inclusive, that is really drawing together all of the groups, and that's the whole point of what we're trying to do.
Well, that goes along with what I'm trying to do as well, which is like an animal resource alliance. Because it seems like I don't understand how there can be so much pettiness, pet, the first part of it should be the most important part, they forget,
Right.
It's all about my power or whatever, but we all have to work together.
Absolutely.
For the benefit of the animals, and let all of that go. And what you've done is exactly that. You've managed to get 160 now different rescue organizations under one umbrella.
Right.
I can understand that, but how'd you get Bloomberg?
In 2002, just months after its formation, the Mayor's Alliance signed an historic agreement with the City of New York to transform New York City into a no-kill community, where no reasonably healthy cat or dog will be killed simply because he or she does not have a home. An ambitious goal? Absolutely.
Well, we were very lucky because we had the platform of the New York City Bar Association, which is, whether lawyers should be given immediate credibility or whatever, we sometimes are. And, I'm a former Wall Street lawyer, and we put this memo into his administration, and his first deputy mayor at that point, lead counsel, saw it and thought, this is something we should be looking at, because that administration embraces public-private partnerships. And, I often say to people, it doesn't really matter whether you're mayor or town supervisor or whatever likes animals. It's good government, it's good public policy. You present it that way as a public-private partnership, and that's all you need. Bloomberg does happen to like animals, but, his daughter actually is a big horsewoman. But there's several huge fish tanks in the bullpen in City Hall, which is where he works, because he comes from the financial services industry, so he doesn't have a private office. He works right in the middle of what they call the bullpen. We've had 2 press conferences at City Hall with dogs, he I think embraces it because it makes sense, and that's really what it is. You have to come to government with a solution. They probably know what the problem is, and we came to them and said, if we can pull together this community collaboration, we think we can get major funding from this foundation, but we're not going to try to do this without the buy-in, if you will, of the city government. It's too important in this city. And actually, Animal Care and Control, which is a private not-for-profit